Continue, not in Hilchos Bayra. Okay. Instead of Hilchos Bayra, we're continuing in Hilchos Muktzah. So we began yesterday, we gave the basic categorizations of Muktzah. So today we're going to focus on Kli Meelachte and particularly in relationship to Muktzah, machmas, chisaron, and hopefully try to come up with clarity what is what and who is who. So we defined yesterday that Kli Meelachte is a utensil that its primary function is to do something forbidden on Shabbos. I would like to explain what's very particular about the statement I just said. A utensil that the primary function is to do forbidden on Shabbos. What's the difference between a rock and a pen? A pen writes, does forbidden on Shabbos. A rock, I don't know, breaks windows, also does forbidden on Shabbos. Why is a rock in the highest level of Muktzah, machmas, kufay? Why is a pen in the next level of Muktzah? The answer to that question is because a pen is fashioned. It's a Kli. That's the answer to that question. Why that makes a difference, let's explain. What is the status of Muktzah of a wax candle? A wax candle. So wax candle is a massive machlekes in the Paiskim. The Shartzian already quotes my brain turned off. I'm thinking Muktzah, but that could just because we're learning Hilchos Nida right now. The Shartzian quotes, my brain turned off, apologies, that says that a wax candle is going to be not Muktzah. The question is, what's a wax candle? Is a wax candle Kli Meelachte or Muktzah machmas gufay? What is a wax candle? So the Shartzian basically is mitzadid, and he says it's going to be a Kli Meelachte. The question is, it's a utensil, it's a wax candle that does iser, it's a fire, but does it do any heter? This is $1 million question. Every Kli Meelachte does it have to be able to do heter as well? Does it have to do heter as well? For example, what is a pen used for? Writing. Are there any other usages of a pen? What? Scratch your head. Is that a usage of a pen? Everything we can find the usage. Here's an iPad. What's an iPad used for? Iser. I can use it as a paperweight. Is that a usage of the item? Or better, do I need a usage of the item? Who said I need a usage of the item? So this is the world war called, does every Kli Meelachte need to have a permissible function as well? It's a massive machlekes abaiskim. We're not going to get involved in names and faces right now. This is where if you go to many Sfarim, they have something called the sug bet Kli Meelachte. Sug bet Kli Meelachte is a Kli Meelachte like an iPad that does no permissible function, and then where does it go? It gets bumped into Muktzah machmas gufay. That's one type of Kli Meelachte. But now let's understand, and we're going to develop that more. We're going to develop that idea more. Let's just begin opening our minds that a Kli Meelachte doesn't need to have a proper permissible function or not. We'll delve into that a bit deeper in the next year, but let's just keep that in mind for a moment. So now, I picked up this iPad and I told you it's a Kli Meelachte. So many people should have stopped me and said, wait, it's Muktzah chisaron kiss. It's Muktzah chisaron kiss. And this is basically the question that any person's smartphone, what is it? It's expensive, it's $1,000. It's delicate, it could break. But it's used all the time. Are you makbid where you put it? We said yesterday that Muktzah chisaron kiss, it has to have a makom. Whether it has to actually have a proper makom or not is a machlekes and lumdis, meaning to say it in one way, we could say, is it a siman or a siba? That's what Ramosha says in the tshuva. Is it that if it doesn't have a place, it's automatically not Muktzah chisaron kiss? Or no? Putting something in its proper place shows your level of hakbada, shows your level of care. Whichever way you go, and I don't want to get particular in which way we're going to go, there's one thing that's clear. There has to be a high level of care that you have towards the item. I'm bringing out the level of care by the fact that many places can say it needs to have its own place. But now, if I take an item that maybe is delicate, and it's sitting here in a case, which, well, no, just to stand over, I thought it broke, that would have been great. It's sitting here in a case which they claim is like bulletproof, and it could drop, and it could break. And the reason you put it in such a case is so that you could just throw it around, and you don't have to care about it. So even if the iPad itself was a Muktzah chisaron kiss, this entity right here, could this be a Muktzah chisaron kiss? The answer is no way. Because how do I use this item? How does the whole world use this item inside this case? Without care. So the fact that this is $300, $500, $1,000, $10,000, who cares? If you have a very expensive item that is designed that can be used with the greatest of ease, that means, is there hakpada? Are you makbid? Are you very careful? Is it a shechita knife? Go ask a sheikh, when's the last time? Shechita knife, you crazy, you have to put it in the bag. A meal knife, you do the same thing. So that's the reason why now, if we were to talk about everyone's smartphones, to think in a case, I don't believe this is a discussion. Because in a case, you put in a case. Why do you put in a case? So you don't have to be careful with it. Now that's pashtus agreeable by everyone. It could be if you look in some svarim, you won't find this. But then you have to go back. Oh, what is it?
What is it now that it's been?
Oh, so what is it now? Kli Meelachte, a utensil. The primary function is isser. We still have a question in the back of our minds. Is there any permissible function of this item? Maybe no. And we said that's going to be a machlekes that we'll delve into deeper. But which category is it in? If you look at many svarim, you're going to find that they're going to write an expensive phone or something like this is muktzah chisaron kiss. Perhaps the reason is because maybe there was a time. I told some of the chavra here, I don't have my laptop here, a laptop for many people, their laptop is muktzah chisaron kiss. It's an expensive item. It's a delicate item. You're careful with it. Many people keep it in the drawer. They take it out. They put it away. They might leave it on their desk all the time, but as soon as they travel, it goes straight in their bag.
It's totally uncomfortable.
That's a very big machlekes. Pashtus is not pashtus. We'll just say it's subjective. It's your personal yachas to the item. There might come a point that you're bottled item, maybe, but let's just leave it at that.
And that would be even for someone else?
And pashtus is that would be even for someone else. That would be even someone else. Meaning, if I'm very makbid on this item, and you're like, oh, I don't care about your item, that doesn't make it not muktzah, the pashtus.
Or you don't care about your laptop. Let's say I don't care about my own laptop.
Right.
So now, does that make your laptop less chashuv?
No.
The item of a laptop is not chashuv to me.
Again, so if it's the miyut, then it might be different. Meaning, there is the whole world, I think, let's use like one of these fancy cameras with a lens, I think the whole world is makbid on those. They have a bag, they put it away. So that's, to me, a very simple example of muktzah chisaron kiss, and everyone would agree upon it. Now, let's say I'm a photographer and I have an old one, which I'm not makbid on anymore. Okay, maybe, but that would only be for me. I understand what you're asking.
If he's poor, so I'm makbid on the
I understand. So that's what I'm saying. So pashtus is it goes by everyone. If you are, whatever, like for example, I said, my laptop, I bring with me wherever I'm going. And therefore, it's on the table, it's off the table, it's in the shelf, it's off the shelf. So for me to think it's chisaron kiss is difficult, just because of the usage, which now let's end off with a smartphone. Even if the smartphone is not in a case. Number one, are you careful with it? Careful with it? You're careful with it. I don't give it to my kid. Right, that's because you're a smart person, you don't want to break. But you're careful, like a shechita knife, like a meal knife. You're careful, like something that you put back in its proper place? No. You use it, you put it down, you this. Furthermore, as the world develops, the phones get more shockproof, more waterproof. It used to be the example was, you're careful not to drop it in the toilet. Nowadays, it drops in the toilet, you rinse it off, you dry it off, it's all fine. It's all fine. So chisaron kiss is something that you're very careful with, maybe even to the point that it has its own case, its own makayim. You're not going to use it for anything else. And you're going to be, your relationship with the item is one of extreme care. A phone is not that. And therefore, pashtus is your phone is going to be the regular chisaron kiss if we answer this other question that it doesn't need permissible function, which we'll deal with in the next shiur.
What is that?